Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here with another brand new brew review for you guys all the way from Antwerp, Belgium. Today I brought out another big bottle for my third iteration in the Gouden Carolus Indulgence series after the 2022 Festival for Anker's 150th anniversary and the 2021 Anno 1521 in honor of the 500th anniversary for their namesake, to which I'll happily add links, of course. I was feeling a bit nostalgic or melancholic today because a bunch of friends from the Antwerp Beer College are visiting Bamberg for a week and I can't go due to work, so I'm having my own little party here. And so I chose the Gouden Carolus Indulgence 2020 called Funken. Now, the word Funken, written Funken, has nothing to do with funk music, and the board game geeks amongst you may recognize the word Funken from Friedman Fries's top game Funkenschlag, known in Dutch as hoogspanning or in English as power grid. If you don't know that game, check it out. That game also has a version called Die Ersten Funken, or the first sparks, so Funken translates to sparks. And why sparks and why in German? Well, I kind of gave it away already with Bamberg. The Indulgence Funken is a combination of Belgian top fermented beer and a German rauchbier or smoked beer. Het Anker replaced some of the malts with smoked and peated malts, resulting in an 8% ABV amber beer with some spicy hop flavors accompanied by fruity yeast esters and a subtle lingering hint of smoke, or so they say themselves. They also emphasize on their website that this was an omen for things to come. The literal thing they said on the site was, "And there's no smoke without fire. This Belgian interpretation of a smoked beer is the spark that lights the fuse heading for 2021, when a smoked taste expression of Gouden Carolus single malt whiskey will be brought out, to be continued." End quotes. They did bring out that peated whiskey. I have tasted it. It was very lovely. I don't know anything about whiskey. I just know that I love peated whiskeys. Now, normally the indulgent beers come in a lovely prestigious glass, a large tulip shape, almost a wine glass with plenty of room for the aromas to come alive and take it all in with the first whiff. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those anymore, so I'll be using my trusted tiny taster glass, my little chalice. By the way, these are complimentary with a brewery visit, which I very highly recommend, because at Anker is a beautiful brewery, one of my favorites. They have the most knowledgeable guides, and whiskey fans also get their kicks there. And you might combine it with the distillery as well. That all being said, without further ado, let's have a taste. Again, in this lovely typical indulgence bottle. I love how they stay true to that initial design. Wow. Now, the best before date here says December 31st, 2023, but this is an 8% amber beer, top fermented, re-fermented in the bottle, so there is absolutely no problem in keeping this a bit longer. In fact, I still have some bottles left, so if any of you guys are visiting Belgium in the near future, I wouldn't be opposed to opening one of these. Let's keep it good as well. So first off, well, while opening we saw that nice plume of vapor coming out. That means that it has kept well. Ooh, it's a bit dusty as well. That it has kept well. Also, I always tend to smell the cork before. Is that important? No, absolutely not. Is that a force of habit? Yes, definitely. I have seen wine tasters or people at restaurants tasting wine, taking the cork going, ooh, cork, I want a new bottle. Please remove those people from the restaurant. But you do get an initial thought. In this case, wow, peat, definitely peat. But let's start by looking. This is a rather light amber beer. I would say this is between amber and blonde when it comes to color. Well, let's say this is a 24 or a 30. It has a nice coppery orangey look. It is quite clear. Yeah, definitely a very lovely looking beer. Yeah, and that smell is a very, very powerful, very lovely aroma. Mainly, of course, smoke and peat. When taking a whiff in of this, I immediately mentally go to a crackling campfire. Not so long ago, I went climbing in Bourgogne in France, near Vito, where you have the Bière de Bourgogne, or Brasserie Bourgogne actually. And I was sitting there drinking at the campfire, and suddenly all my beers tasted like smoked beers. So I know what it's like to have a smoked vedette right now. But yeah, very, very lovely scent. Also, I want to point your attention to this foam. This is a very thick, creamy head of foam, very, very tiny bubbles, and it really keeps, because all the time I've been talking, you see that my beer level has raised a tiny bit, but it doesn't feel like I have less foam. It's not dissipating anytime soon. So this is a very, very lovely head of foam, a lovely color, as we say. Also, it does have that transparent orangey shine to it. Let's call it beigeish as well. Also worth mentioning, by the way, this beer is brewed with barley and wheat. So I am expecting some slight acidity in the back of the throat and a rather pleasant, enjoyable mouthfeel as well. Now that smoke and peat aroma is so overpowering that you really don't get any other aromas. I couldn't say herbs or spices or fruit or hop. Nope, it's just campfire, man. So let's have a taste. Cheers. Oh my, they really did a good job on this. Yeah, right off the bat, of course, you cannot ignore that smoky, that peated taste. Just like with a peated whiskey, that is the very first thing that you will notice. It is a very full-on, in your face. It's like a wall of flavor hitting you in the face. But yeah, I think this is a job very well done. I think this reminds me of the classic Schlenkerla, for example. I do think that this is brewed with the utmost care. Now, as expected, I also get that slight acidic tingling on the back of my throat or in the back of my mouth, on that weak tissue here. A nice tingling, and that has to do, of course, with that wheat that's been used. And I do get that underneath that smoke, I get a whole lot of yeah, a very typical Belgian strong blonde. And actually this is an 8%. They say amber beer, but it does act with my taste pupils as a blonde, maybe even a tiny hint of Weizen. Of course that is because of that wheat, but yeah, absolutely lovely. Also a very decent mouthfeel, and it doesn't taste like 8%, so it's a bit dangerous as well. Like I wouldn't want this on tap, because I think that I would have a lot of drunks in the bar because of it. I do get a hint of bitterness as well, and now those spicy notes are coming up, but I'm already halfway there. Of course I am cheating, this is a 15 centiliter, so let's say I drank like 6-7 centiliters, but now those spicy notes are coming up. In a standard Funken glass that will be 20%, so rather decent timing. And still, that centimeter of foam, very nice. Now, of course, I do realize that this is a love it or hate it situation. I have given people smoked beers or rauchbier, for example, the Schlenkerla, and it's very clear that that is love it or hate it. Now, I happen to love it as long as it's well brewed. I have had rauchbier that I instantly hated because it was either too subtle or not, not existent, or just not well done, like chewing on a brick of coal. But this is a very well brewed beer. So how should I score this? I actually think it's definitely not an everyday beer, but I do think that I will give this a 4-ish, 3.75, 4, somewhere in that region, because it is just very lovely, well brewed, very nicely made, and also rather unique. First off, very unique in Belgium, but I think worldwide, if we're going outside of Bamberg, I cannot name you 10 rauchbier or 10 decent rauchbier, and by coupling that rauchbier to the Belgian typical top fermented strong blonde, for example, and this is swimming through that region of strong blonde, triple and amber-ish. It's a very cool concoction, but I think they made something really unique, and it also takes quite a bit of nerve and some balls to pull something off like this. Also, and I have to admit it, I have to give it to it, Anker, their price point is just really on point. I'm not gonna say they are cheap, but they are absolutely not expensive for all those specialty beers that they make. I think about 10 bucks for a bottle. Yeah, quite a lot of enjoyment for 10 bucks. So, that all being said, I'm gonna enjoy this a bit further. I still have some work to do. So Cedric, do you drink while working? Well, that is the beauty of being a beer expert. But yeah, if you guys like this video, let me know down in the comments, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you will get notified whenever I upload something, which should be, but doesn't always work out, on Saturday and Sunday at 8 p.m. Although I will experiment with other days as well. If you guys have any suggestions or questions, leave them down in the comments. I am thinking of doing a Q&A this winter. Yeah, and if you want to meet me, that is possible, by the way. Down below in the description I've put up some links to my Instagram and all those things, my Untapped. But I also still guide in at least one brewery, and I do tours in Antwerp. So come say hi and let's have a drink together. Until then, cheers!